What's up, guys? I'm BTC. A lot of changes on the PTR, lots of buffs, lots of nerfs, and a brand new Golden Bob. There is a whole bunch of stuff to get to. The first thing is that away skins for the Overwatch League are now available, and it seems like Blizzard changed their mind on how they want to handle it. So before, when you would get one of the skins, it would be just the home version and it would have the colors of the team. But now, as you can see, it says unlocking includes both home and away skins. So now I have the Seoul Dynasty away skin as well. You now get both of them. So that's pretty cool. I don't know exactly why they decided to do this. I didn't see any announcement anywhere about it, but there you go. So they are changing it, and now you get both of the character skins for whatever the price is. I believe it's like 100 per. The other thing they changed is now you can get a golden version of Bob. It's part of the golden weapon. Luckily, I do have enough on the PTR to unlock it. I thought if they were going to do this, that it was just going to be some small aspect of Bob that got turned golden, but no, they pretty much made the whole character golden. So let me just quickly run through them so you can get a quick peek at what they look like. And the last one there. They also added 2 more characters that can sing karaoke in Busan. The first is Genji. I need singing. And the second is Zenyatta.
True self is without form. Embrace the rhythm. Embrace the beat. Embrace the melody. Move your feet.
There was also a bunch of hero balance changes, some buffs and nerfs. I've talked about some of these in previous videos, so I'm going to quickly recap those and show you the actual in-game footage, and then we'll get to the new changes. So, Bastion Configuration Recon, ammo was increased from 25 to 35, Configuration Sentry, the weapon spread decreased by up to 33% while firing. So how this works is kind of a reverse spread. Normally, as you continue to attack, your attacks will get more and more away from the center, but with Bastion in this new Sentry mode, it actually does the reverse. It now gets a tighter spread, so it becomes more accurate the longer you're attacking. These are definitely nice buffs, but it's not going to change anything about Bastion. He's still a stationary character in a game where mobility is king. It doesn't mean he needs to have a boost or a dash or any sort of sprint or something like that. It's just he needs to be able to move around more often. And this change is actually going to encourage people into staying in Sentry mode even more. What's going to happen is Pirate Ship is going to get a little bit stronger, and it might actually be extremely strong depending on how good this change actually turns out to be. But in all other situations, he's still going to be largely useless. So these are nice buffs, it's not going to change anything. Next up is Brigitte. She got a pretty significant nerf to Shield Bash, can no longer travel or stun targets through barriers. Note that it says can no longer travel through barriers, but that isn't exactly true. I'll show you in just a second because there's actually something kind of interesting that you can now do with this new Shield Bash. But when I talked about this in a previous video, I mentioned that it's going to make triple tank, triple support even stronger, because what's going to happen is if you're trying to run a 2-2-2 lineup, one of the best things that you could do is Shield Bash the enemy triple tank Reinhardt, and then you could follow up with a Sleep or a Bionade or a Shatter, whatever it happens to be. But if you can't stun that Reinhardt anymore, the 2-2-2 lineup is going to be in a lot of trouble because you only have 2 options. You can either Shield Break or you can hack the Reinhardt. The problem is with Shield Break, the Reinhardt triple tank, triple support death ball doesn't give you time for that shield break to occur because it's a death ball comp and they rush in and they completely swarm your team. So before you even have the opportunity to shield break that enemy Reinhardt in that triple lineup, they're going to be right on top of you, destroying your entire team. So the other option is to run a Sombra to try to hack him, but the problem is with triple, there is so much healing and so much health that Sombra doesn't really have enough damage in order to try to grind that out. So it kind of brings up some problems. I do think that this change is actually going to end up making triple even stronger, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But there is something else really interesting, and I want to show you that just now. Because you can no longer shield bash the players through the barrier, it means that Brigitte is now connecting with the barrier. So every time you shield bash, you will deal 50 damage to that barrier. Now, there's some other interesting things that I discovered while I was testing this. So first of all, if you're right next to it and you try to shield bash, then you're not really going to move at all. However, if you're a little bit of a distance away and you shield bash, you actually go through the barrier. So it doesn't stop you right in front of it. Instead, you go a little bit past it. Let me show you over here as well. You see I stop right in front of it, but if I am a little bit back, then I go through it. There's kind of like this little extra travel period that you have. Now, I don't know if they're going to change this or not. Maybe they'll make it so that you always stop in front of the barrier. But as it is now, you pass through it just a little bit. And let me show you over here as well. And then on the sides. So you go a little bit into the barrier. But if I'm right next to it, I stop. Now, the reason why this is interesting is because this actually sets up a brand new combo that Brigitte can do to Reinhardt and Winston and Orisa. So if you're a little bit far away, you can shield bash to go through the barrier, and then you can immediately whip shot, which will knock them away. So it's not going to have the same effect as before where you could stun the Reinhardt. However, it still gives Brigitte a little bit of that pressure in order to deal with him or move him at least a little bit. Next up is Doomfist. He got some really significant nerfs. This might actually break the viability of the character. First is Rising Uppercut, loss of air control duration lowered to 0.6 seconds from 3 seconds. This is what it looks like on the live version of the game. Roadhog has no control over his character pretty much till he hits the ground. And then on the PTR, you can see very quickly after he gets hit by the Rising Uppercut, he regains control and he can start moving to the side or backward, forward, whatever he wants. I actually like this change because it gives the opponent more control of their character. I think that's fine. It is definitely a nerf to Doomfist, but the thing that's really going to be problematic and I think is going to seriously damage the character is the next change, which is a nerf to Seismic Slam. Maximum range reduced from 20 meters to 15 meters. So this is what it looks like on the live version of the game. And this is what it looks like on the PTR. Significantly lower distance, lower damage, but the distance, I think, is more important. The problem is that Doomfist needs to be able to get into the backline to do what he needs to do and then get out. If he's not able to do that, then he simply isn't going to be useful in that backline at all anymore. This means that Doomfist is going to have to start playing in the front line, and he's a really bad frontline character. He has minimal damage that he can do with his primary attack, and using your abilities when you're directly in front of the enemy and they can expect it really severely minimizes their effectiveness. So this changes Doomfist from being a backline assassin type character, and instead he's going to be played as a really bad frontline off tank. And I just don't think this is going to be good for the character at all. McCree got a really nice buff. His Fan the Hammer damage increased from 45 to 55. This isn't going to change anything if you're going after targets with 250 health or less, but for the higher health characters, this is really good. It means you can fan, roll, fan, and it will take out pretty much every character in the game. This is just a flat buff. There's not too much to say about it. Soldier 76 also got a nice little buff with his ultimate. Tactical Visor no longer makes Helix rockets auto-target enemies. This was a problem because, as you can see on the live version of the game here, whenever you use the Helix rockets, it's going to go directly to where the Lucio currently is. But because the Helix rocket is a projectile, it's always going to miss. This was problematic. It made the Helix rockets almost useless during your ultimate. But on the PTR, it just makes it so that it doesn't auto-target, and now you are free to aim and lead the target wherever you want, so now you can actually get damage done with the Helix rocket during your Tactical Visor ultimate. Nice little buff. Next is Torbjorn. He also got a buff to his ultimate. Molten Core damage increased from 130 to 160 per second. This is for the regular damage, not the bonus armor specific. That has been unchanged. Developer comments say, while the Molten Core damage pools were intended to provide players with tools for area denial, they weren't proving threatening enough to deter enemies for a significant amount of time because their damage was too low. I've played quite a bit of Torbjorn in the team deathmatch, quick play, and even some of the competitive ladder. I have never run into the issue they're talking about. The problem I always see is that the lava pools don't cover enough of the area, but the damage has never been an issue. The damage on those lava pools is just ridiculously high already, and they would just completely melt people that tried to go through them. So I'm not really sure what they were talking about here. However, there is another problem with the damage that I noticed. In fact, I noticed it way back when the Torbjorn rework was first put on the PTR. I actually made a forum post about it, but they never responded. The problem is that the first tick of damage you take only deals 2 damage, which means you can run through and jump over the lava, and you take less damage because that first tick only does 2. So it's kind of like a free tick of damage whenever you go near the lava. If they really want to make the lava pools more dangerous, then they need to fix it so that the first tick does the full amount of damage that it's supposed to do. Those are all the changes that are currently on the PTR. If there's anything new, I'll be sure to let you guys know. What do you guys think about the buffs and the nerfs? And more importantly, what do you think about Golden Bob? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.